Hello everyone. If you want to improve your relationship, learn relationship hack or listen to entertaining and educating relationship stories, please subscribe, like, and share. Share your own story in the comments section below. Thank you. Comment what do you think about this situation. Girlfriend I was going to marry cheated on me. So I am a 29-year-old guy and my girlfriend is 33. We have been together for 7 years total. We recently talked about getting married and I had already proposed, and we were already making plans for the marriage. I had the rings already too. Well, one day I was at work and I decided to come home early from work. I called my girl multiple times and no answer. A few texts and again no answer. I got kinda worried something happened to her, so I sped home. I called right before arriving and again no answer. I walked in the front door and I heard my nightmares coming from the master bedroom. I peeked through a crack in the door and it was confirmed she was cheating. I slowly crept away. I took my ring off and left it on the dinner table with a note I wrote that said, "I hope you had fun, here is your fucking promise ring." I walked out and sat in my truck for about 5 minutes thinking. I turned the engine on and revved it as loud as I could for a few seconds just so she could hear I was around, and I just left. Since it was a Friday, I had weekends off. I called up my cousin and asked if I could sew in the weekend at his house. He asked what happened, but I said I had to tell him in person. I got to his home. His mom and wife live with him. His mom is divorced, and I stayed in my truck and asked him to come out. I was crying and told him what happened. He gave me a brotherly hug and his wife and my aunt came out. They were confused to why I was really upset, and my cousin explained what happened since I could barely talk. A while later I was receiving a lot of phone calls and texts from my girlfriend saying to come home, that she wanted to talk with me. My cousin's wife answered and said I was too busy and couldn't talk. The night came that day and I was just laying in bed all day. Then I got a message from one of my girl's friends and she said I wanted to talk to me about what happened. I told her to promise me my girlfriend wouldn't be there, and my dumbass believed her. I met her at Mexican food place and she had ordered some food for both of us, but I couldn't eat and barely talk. We sat for a few minutes just talking about how I felt, and she out of nowhere apologized. I asked why and she looked at the door and my girlfriend walked in. I tried to quickly walk back to my truck to drive off, but they both pulled me back and begged me to calm down. We sat in the parking lot and my girlfriend was just crying and saying how she was sorry and how she wanted to fix things, but I just looked around avoiding looking at her face and I stayed silent. She asked where I was staying and I just said with my cousin. She came to hug me, but I lightly pushed her off and left back to my cousin's place. At his house we just chilled outside and we had a blunt so I could feel a little better and so I would be able to sleep. The next day my phone was bombarded with texts and missed phone calls, but I just ignored again. My cousin said to feel free and stay as long as I needed, but I didn't want to invade his family and personal life, so I told him I would get a hotel, but he told me to stay in the second house on the property in which my aunt lived in. I made sure it was okay with her, so I decided it was okay. I drove back home to get clothes and some personal items, and when I got there my girlfriend was there with her friend crying. I walked past them and ignored them and quickly left again. I went back to my cousin's and tried to get my mind off of it, but it was really hard, so I had another blunt to calm down. I really wish I had my mother, but she was gone, and my father, well, I never met him. My girlfriend showed up an hour later at my cousin's house. She tried to come talk, but my family was trying to tell her to go away. I came out and decided to try and listen to what she had to say. I noticed she still had her ring on and told her who she was going to marry, and she started acting hysterical and crying like a baby. She tried to stick around, but I told her if she needed someone to go with her other man since he was so much better than me, and it was starting to get heated. My cousin's wife then said to calm down and she drove her back to my house. Lately I have been sleeping at my cousin's/aunt's house, but now I'm lost. Any advice? That shit hit me harder than any punch I have ever taken. Edit. Holy shit. I have lost 20 pounds since and am not in shape anymore. Thanks for the helpful comments, I really appreciate it. Edit 2. So I'm transferring home ownership to her name. I really don't care about money, I have enough to do what I want to. In a little I am going to go get all of my belongings, will update what happens later. Edit 3. I went to get my personal belongings from the house. She was there with some friends crying and shit. One of her friends asked to please talk to her and to give her chance. I said fuck no. Again they tried to follow me, I threatened to call the cops and they sat me down to talk. Again she was crying and begging that she will do anything. I looked at my shoes the whole time she tried to lift my face up to look at her, but I looked away, got up and left immediately. I drove back to my brother's place and am here now, all hurt all over again. Honestly, I'm fucking done. I feel like shit and like I just want to give up already. Edit 4. She said she is moving out. So I am selling the house now, she is no longer keeping it. Now I'm just thinking about buying my next house. Edit 5. I'm going to stay at a hotel for now while I look for another home. I don't want to bug or disrupt my family's personal lives too much. TLDR. Girlfriend I was about to marry cheated. Kept on trying to contact me after I left the house for a while. Got her friends to try and convince me to get back with her. The best revenge is living well. Cut ties. She should never hear from you again. Move out of town, change is good. Do something with your life. Make yourself better in every way. She'll find out enough about you through the grapevine. And she'll always regret deciding to treat you so badly. You can do so much better than her. And you deserve so much better. Bail out for the sake of your manhood. If you have an ounce of dignity, you shouldn't even question looking at her again. Your ex is a slut and probably so are her friends. Birds alike flock together. Fuck them all. Give yourself some time to shrug it off and come out of this a more experienced, a more skilled a man. If you ever go back to her, I'm gonna come over and punch you up. Hit the gym during this time as well. Call them and ask them if they have any reasons to get back with her that involve you rather than her. All these reasons they give you are about her. She's so miserable. She's depressed. It's so sad. I'd be surprised if they can come up with own reason why getting back together would be good for you. If they're reasonable, it will shut them up. If it doesn't, you know you're dealing with a nutcase, block those numbers. I'd break up with her. By the way, I normally think any relationship could be saved. But if she cheated on you with someone you have serious beef with, well, that's just unforgivable. She was willing to risk her relationship with you for a relationship with the guy who hates you. There's no saving that. If you feel like shit, go to a gym and box. Just punch something that won't get you sent to prison. Bro. Not gonna lie. Apart from yourself and your family, you ain't responsible for anyone else. If you meet loyal and good friends, they deserve respect. But this piece of shit dared to do all this to you and then wants to get back? And on top of that, do you think she would tell you if you didn't find out? Get the fuck out of here. There are plenty of people in the world who will love you and stay loyal to you, man. This shit ain't worth losing the rest of your life to. My cousin said to feel free and stay as long as I needed, but I didn't want to invade his family and personal life, so I told him I would get a hotel, but he told me to stay in the second house on the property in which my aunt lived in. I made sure it was okay with her, so I decided it was okay. I drove back home to get clothes and some personal items, and when I got there my girlfriend was there with her friend crying. I waked past them and ignored them and quickly left again. I went back to my cousin's and tried to get my mind off of it, but it was really hard, so I had another blunt to calm down. I really wish I had my mother, but she was gone, and my father, well, I never met him. My girlfriend showed up an hour later at my cousin's house. She tried to come talk, but my family was trying to tell her to go away. I came out and decided to try and listen to what she had to say.